gentlemen, we are live. It's time.
What is going on, everybody? What is up? Happy Tuesday to all of you out there. We are now live here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel. We're also live over on Kick, and we're also live over on Twitch. If you are new to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a big old thumbs up. It is now time for another edition of the Raw Rundown. And as always, guys, it's me. It is Steve. I hope you all are enjoying yourselves. How's your day going so far? I can't hear you, but I hope it's going well. I hope it is going well for the most part. Again, if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe, hit that bell notification, hit that like. Spread the word. Tell your friends that we are live and all that fun stuff. In case you missed it yesterday, on Steve's Kitchen, I gave my thoughts on everything that went down on Triple Mania 33. So make sure you guys go give that a watch whenever you get a chance. And yeah, this is the Monday Night Raw from last night. Overall, Raw was live from Philly. So I will say this, for the most part, compared to the last couple of weeks where they've all been like, man, a chore to sit through, a real chore to sit through. I'm not saying this show, cleaned up for the last couple of Raws or anything like that, but a small nidge of improvement on the show. I'll say this. I thought the big thing on the show is obviously Naomi's announcement, as you guys already know. She announced that she is pregnant. She is expecting a child, her and Jimmy Uso, so congrats to both of them. And we all saw what happened on Raw, right? And the big question now is, what's going to be of that title? And if you notice, yes, on the thumbnail, yeah, I also added Stephanie Vaquer. Because if you guys remember, Stephanie Vaquer, she did win that Battle Royal. She did win that Battle Royal at Evolution to get this opportunity against Naomi at Clash in Paris. And now that match, from the looks of it, from the way it seemed, is not going to even take place. So in a way, I kind of feel, look, I'm happy for Naomi. Congrats. It's awesome. It's a blessing. But at the same time, on the other side of the coin, it's like, here's Stephanie Vaquer, who basically did everything that she was asked, right? She competed in that Battle Royal, right? She won that Battle Royal at Evolution. And you would think, hey, here she is, ready to go for the title, ready to compete for the title, and now it's not happening. Well, who's to say, right? I mean, a lot can happen, right? The big question, obviously, is what's going to be of that title. I don't want to see Stephanie. I do not want to see Stephanie Vaquer have to compete in another tournament. I don't want them to do the lazy, we're going to do a battle royal, and the winner of this is the new champion. No, that's just lazy. Mind you, I love battle royals, okay? I am a sucker for a battle royal. I've said this before. Look, if you want to do the tournament, go for it. Or honestly, you know what? Here's what you do. This is what I would do again if you gave me the pen. God damn it. 9 times out of 10, you do not want me to have the pen. Just saying. But here's what I would do. I would do Stephanie Vaquer. She gets her shot in Paris. But the question is, against who? I would do, I know this is kind of lazy, but I would do a women's battle royal. Wherever you have on that roster. And you know what? Bring in some folks from SmackDown. Why not? And the winner faces Stephanie in Paris for the vacant title. That's what I would do. But again, I don't know what their plan is. Again, you still have another week. I know next week they are live in the UK. My bad. They're live in Scotland. They're live in, I think it's Scotland. I think it is where they're live. Where's Raw live? Where's Raw next week? Let me just make sure here. I think it's in Scotland. Let me just check here. I do think, because I know it's at 3 p.m. next week, right? I know it's literally live. They're obviously on their European tour. I want to say, my bad. Yeah, they're in Birmingham, England. There you go. They're in Birmingham, England. I almost said Scotland, but I know AEW is there tomorrow, so there's that. But next Monday they're in Birmingham, England. There's a possibility. Hey, yeah, do a battle royal, and the winner faces the winner faces Stephanie Vaquer at the PLE. But again, congrats for Naomi. I'll get more into this, her pregnancy, her announcement of it, as we get into it in the review. But let me know your thoughts. What do you want to see take place now with the women's world title? Do you want Stephanie Vaquer to, wrestle for the title, for a vacant title at the PLE? Because I don't really think it's going to happen, but I could be wrong. I could be fucking wrong here. But nevertheless, congrats on Naomi. Congrats to Naomi. Congrats to Jimmy Uso on them having their soon-to-be child. Congrats on them. But overall, I thought Raw was a small bit of improvement. Not really saying much. Again, they were in Philadelphia. And as you guys know, over the years, Philadelphia, that the Northeast is that rabid passion fan base. And I just thought it was a little flat for my liking. I felt like Philly just really wasn't into it for the most part. But that's just me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as well and all that stuff as well. Chief writes here, I'm hearing Raquel is one of the names on the list to win that world title. It could be. It could be Raquel. It could be Raquel Rodriguez. It could be. But I just think right now for Stephanie Vaquer, you put her in a spot now that, hey, not what she had in mind. My day is going all right. That's wonderful, Weston. I love that for you, brother. I'm happy to know that you're happy. But let's get into the program here. Let's get into the show. Let me know your thoughts. What did you like from Raw? What did you not like from Raw? The show opened up with, what do you know? The Vision. The Vision came out. That being Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman. Heyman did the introductions to everyone in the faction. But they were immediately interrupted, which I'll get into before I get into that. But basically, Paul Heyman putting over, again, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, right? The future WrestleMania main eventer, the holder of the Shula Fala, that being Bronson Reed. He even put over himself, talking about, they offered to put a statue of me in this city, but I'm very humble and all that stuff. But he calls himself the GOAT. And there are a lot of GOATs in the ring, that being the remaining members of the Vision. And he also references Seth Rollins. And right when Rollins was going to speak, Jey Uso interrupted, right? And Jey Uso made fun of everyone in the Vision before saying he would beat Braun Breaker tonight. And then keep this in mind. Seth Rollins starts to instigate some shit to Braun Breaker. Oh, Jey Uso said this, Jey Uso said that. Your family ain't nothing, and this and whatnot, and you guys, you suck at math, and your whole family's a bunch of fat asses and stuff like that. And even though Jey didn't say that, but again, you want to just, what's the word I'm looking? You want to give some motivation to Braun Breaker. So then Paul Heyman goes, hey, back in the day in the bingo hall, the ECW arena, whenever two guys had to settle something, they would do it in a certain match. And then he referenced, Sandman, hitting the beer can over his head, New Jack being the true gangster. Um, you reference also the Dudley Boys, right? He also referenced the spirit of Sabu, the late great Sabu, and the one that made me laugh, the late great Tommy Dreamer, even though he's not dead. You know, he's not dead. And I know Braun Breaker's like, what, he's still alive? And Heyman was like, yeah, unfortunately, but I get it. It was funny for the most part, it was funny. But basically, this arranged for an Extreme Rules match because it's Philadelphia. It's Philly. And of course, Jey Uso accepted. So that was your main event for the show. Weston writes here, I say you'd do a surprise opponent and I would make it someone from AAA like Lady Shani or some young talent like that. So even if they lose, they get the spotlight. Yeah, but still, it has to be someone from the roster, though, bro. We're not going to bring in someone from the outside, even though WWE owns AAA. We're just not going to bring in someone just to lose. No, because then that gives a bad look on the brand. I think, honestly, they probably do the Battle Royal. And you can, again, put in some people from Raw, people from SmackDown, people from NXT if you want. And the winner faces Stephanie McCurry for the vacant title. That's probably what they're going to do. Or if not, sometime later on a future Raw. But we'll see. No lie, this is from Chief. I'm over the vision. I'm not feeling the group. I think it's because every single week they come out and they do the exact same shit. The same promo, the same introduction. It gets to a point where it's like, all right, bro, we get it. We fucking get it, you know? But after this, we did get the backstage. We saw the Kabuki Warriors apologizing to Io Sky about what happened last week. About what happened last week, right? The whole, like, you know, mishap, what have you. And they offered to be in the corner of Io Sky in her match later on tonight with Raquel Rodriguez. And Roxanne declined. My bad. Io Sky declined. She declined. She's like, no, I don't need your guys' help. I want to do this on my own. And the Kabuki Warriors, all right, they accepted that. And we got Io Sky and Raquel Rodriguez. For the most part, the match itself, it was okay. Nothing to really go like crazy about. The match went about 11 minutes. And what do you know? Io Sky did pick up the win. And after the match, the Judgment Day, that being obviously Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, they attacked Io Sky until who do you know makes the save? Rhea Ripley makes the save. They clear the ring. Keep in mind, Io Sky told the Kabuki Warriors to stay in the back. But here comes Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky is happy to see her. She is thrilled and excited to see her. It's like, you know, you don't bat an eye for this, but for the others, yes, you do. It's just like, come on. What kind of friend are you, Io Sky? What are we doing? You know? But from there, we get a backstage segment between CM Punk and LA Knight, where they argued, where Knight was taking offense at Punk getting in his business for the most part. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, I would not mind a CM Punk LA Knight like odd team here. I wouldn't mind it. But it's up to them. But for the comedy, but we'll see. Backstage, we see obviously Asuka and Rhea Ripley. They argued, right? Which made Io Sky livid at the situation. Because again, remember what I said earlier. Io Sky told the Kabuki Warriors to stay in the back. I don't need your help. Rhea Ripley comes out and she is happy to see her. That being Io is happy to see her, right? And like I said, they're yelling and Io just had it. And she started screaming in Japanese. And basically Asuka told Rhea Ripley to stay out of their business. Yeah, stay out of her business. Now, this could definitely lead to a future tag team match between the Kabuki Warrior versus Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, which is fine for the most part. Because again, I don't need to see Io and Rhea wrestle again. They already had that masterpiece at Evolution. That's it. You're not topping that. I mean, they probably can, but I'm good. I'm good. However, in this situation, now that there's a vacant title and Stephanie McCur's waiting in the wings for an opponent, we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. From there, we got Penta versus Xavier Woods. You had Kofi and Grayson Waller, at ringside. They're still mourning, that being the New Day. They're mourning the loss of their tag titles. I'm just not feeling it at this point. And for Penta, I'll be honest, and I hate that I'm saying this, because I was there in Vegas, bro, when he got that reaction and everybody was doing his dance, everybody was doing his entrance, right? People were just, in that whole Penta wave. And now, a couple months in, he just feels like another guy on the roster. I'm at a point now where it's like, you really want to inject some life into the Raw tag team division. And I know he's on SmackDown. He's teaming up with Andrade. But fuck it, bro. Fuck it. Send Rey Fenix to Raw. Why not? If you want to, bring in Andrade. Why not? Bring in Andrade too. That's what I would do at this point. Reunite the Lucha Brothers. But we'll see how that turns out. I doubt they'll do it, but obviously Penta did get the win over Xavier Woods. The match went about not even 10 minutes. That's all you need to know about that. I'm not either. They should have just done Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed just sucks, and Braun Breaker is better on his own. Just not right now. Penta needs to be booked better, and the New Day is dead tag team. No pun intended. I guess so. But from there, we had the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and JD McDonough versus the team of Dragon Lee and Mr. Iguana. Mr. Iguana made his Raw debut. Now, mind you, I'm watching Raw on Netflix here in the U.S. So we did not get so if you watch in the U.S., you did not get to see the Mr. Iguana entrance. You didn't get to see it, right? I'm sure if you watched it, if you're from the UK or somewhere in Europe or Mexico, wherever, Canada, you probably did see the entrance, right? It was cool to see. It was cool to see Mr. Iguana on Monday Night Raw. For the most part, the match itself, it was fine, right? Iguana did bring in Layeska, but Finn Balor didn't bring in his Demonito, which, by the way, they're charging $100 on WWE Shop for the Finn Balor puppet. That's not even including shipping and handling. So you're probably paying like what, 120 altogether. Yeah, I'm good. But obviously when it was all said and done, the Judgment Day did pick up the win. After this, again, they're basically beating up on Mr. Iguana as well, because Mr. Iguana was checking up on Dragon Lee, and they proceed to beat him up. And then who happens to make the save? El Hijo del Vikingo. Now, if you notice here in the States, no one's booing him, right? So I'm sure for him, it's like, man, it feels cool to not be booed, right? So he makes the save, but eventually gets laid out by Dominic Mysterio. You see Dominic Mysterio posing with the Intercontinental Championship that he has, and as well the AAA Mega Championship. They did also announce that at World's End, it will be, my bad, Worlds Collide. I said World's End. Worlds Collide. It's going to be Dominic Mysterio versus El Hijo del Vikingo for the Mega Championship. Now, keep in mind, yes, I did say this on Steve's Kitchen, but I'm going to say this again. It's going to be the Friday, I think September the 12th at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's on the same weekend of Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford. So it's, Mexican Independence Day weekend. Let's do a Worlds Collide show and also a boxing event. It's like they really think that these wrestling fans are going to fork over money to go see Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford. That ain't happening. That's not happening. But that'd be cool if they tried. Bro, Mystery, this is from Weston. Bro, Mr. Iguana is him. They need to push him to the moon. Patience, my friend. Patience. They will, but just be patient. Boo, Vikingo, El Grande Americano for Mega Champion. Could have been, but they didn't go through with it. From there, we saw a vignette of Bayley talking to the voices in her head, telling her that she's a loser, to, would you want a hug, and just talking that shit, basically. And I'll be honest with you, like, this idea that now Bayley has, is losing it or having some, mental, whatever the fuck issues. I don't want to crap on it right away because I want to see this shit play out. I really want to see where this goes, but yeah, for now, it just, it's whatever. But yeah, Bayley is losing it, I guess, right? From there, we got the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. We had Becky Lynch versus Natalya. Now, I want you guys to notice something, right? I'm sure you guys seen Natalya, right? When she wrestles for Bloodsport or AAA or NWA, she has like her badass character. What was it? Natalya, right? Or Natty Neidhart, right? Like she's ready to beat the fuck out of somebody. And I'm like, yo, why can't we bring that character into WWE programming? Why is that? Why is Natty still wearing the cowboy hat and acting all like, it just so hokey. It comes off so fucking hokey. But the match itself, look, they did this whole thing where Natalya had a hurt shoulder, and that's where Becky was working on most of the match. And eventually, yes, Becky did make Natty tap out to the disarmer. I'll be honest, too. I hate Becky's theme song. I hate it. I'm not feeling it at all. It just, not for me. Not for me at all, bro. Not for me. Not feeling it. But again, maybe some of you out there, maybe y'all do. And after the match, of course, Becky Lynch attacked Maxine Dupree. She attacked. They even showed a highlight. They tried to show you highlights also before the match regarding the match from last week between Becky and Maxine Dupree. Thank you for reminding us that Maxine is still green. Thank you. And who happens to make the save from all this? Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella makes the save. It hits the rack attack, number 2, on Becky, and tells her to leave her. Don't mess with her girls. I don't know if the graphic is even up, but I'm guessing that is a match for Paris. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to see it, but hey, fine. It is what it is. It is what, at this point for Becky Lynch, it is what it is. After this, also I didn't mention this, but there was somewhere backstage where I guess Jackie Redmond was interviewing Sheamus, right? And it ended up in a massive brawl because Rusev came out, right? Rusev comes out and they proceed to they were gonna brawl and they were trying to break it up, and Pierce basically like, nah, fuck all this shit. We're not dealing with this. Hell no. We are not dealing with this. Do you hear what we're gonna do? He was yelling. He was just shouting. He was like, we're going to do this one last time to get it out of your system. A Clash of Paris. It will be Sheamus and Rusev in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. That is going down at Clash of Paris. That is going down. So there's that. I mean, look, I'll be honest. Sheamus doesn't have a bad match, especially on PLEs, but I've not been digging Rusev. I've not. If this leads to them being a tag team, which would be so fucking funny, it would be hilarious. Natty low key legend could win the IC title. Yeah, in a different alternate universe, buddy. In a different alternate universe, ain't nobody want to see Sheamus and Rusev in 2015. You're not the only one. You are not the only one. But that's happening, though. That is happening. And then after this, we had Naomi in the ring make her big announcement. And obviously, they showed a video from the Stephanie McMahon podcast that Stephanie has. What's your story? And I guess this was like a bonus clip. And they did a little tease before the announcement was made. So then Naomi's in the ring. And you could just see that she was bawling her eyes out. And she basically wants everyone to look at the Titantron. And Jimmy Uso made the announcement that, yeah, man, proceed with caution because they are having a baby. That's right. Naomi is pregnant. I mentioned this moments ago. And look, what a year for Naomi. What a year. Now, keep in mind, too, like, you knew she was going to vacate the title, but I loved her delivery where she basically told Adam Pearce, I am not giving you this title. I did this last time. Now I'm not giving you shit. She even said shit. Right? They didn't get blurred out, nothing. And she made Adam Pearce leave. But she was talking about how, she would have beaten everybody, but obviously Big Jim wanted some Netflix and chill. If we know what she meant, got a big pop. But outside of that, look, she did say that she'll be back 9 months from change, even if she's breastfeeding the baby on one hand to get her belt back and want everybody to proceed with caution. Now, I must say this. What an amazing 2025 for Naomi. Hands down. Hands down, what an amazing 2025. Here's someone who is crazy when you think about it, right? 3 years ago or so, 3 years ago, she walks out of WWE with Mercedes, Sasha Banks, whatever you want to call her. They had the walkout, whatever. They were suspended, whatever the case might have been. You guys remember, like, when that whole thing went down, yeah, Michael Cole on commentary, basically taking digs at both Naomi and Mercedes for what they did, right? And then months go by, and obviously Naomi's contract gets, terminated or whatever the case might have been. And Naomi goes to TNA as Trinity, right, to refine her love for wrestling. And she does, and she tears it up, right? Wins the Knockouts title, had matches with Deonna Purrazzo, Jordan Grace, to name you a few. And she's on this tear in TNA, right? And then she returns back in 2024. She returns back to WWE. Yeah, I want to say 2024. Yeah, it was 2024. She makes her return at the Royal Rumble, right? And it felt like for a minute there, she was doing the tag team thing with Bianca. And then obviously Jade Cargill got involved too. And it got to a point where, for Naomi, they could do more, right? And then they did the whole thing where someone took out Jade Cargill. Who was it, right? You were wondering who it was. And then at Chamber 2020, was it 2025, I believe? Yeah, 2025, Elimination Chamber. Jade comes out and attacks Naomi, and it's revealed that it was her who takes her out. And she goes into this whole transformation of character, right? Wins Money in the Bank, wins the women's world title, cashes in at Evolution, has that match at SummerSlam with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Like, yo, she literally had an amazing 2025. You can't take that away from her. And now she's getting the ultimate blessing in becoming a mother. And again, congrats to both Jimmy and Naomi on welcoming their soon-to-be child in a couple of months or so. I'm glad for her. Hope they keep the push. I hope so too, Brandon Brown. I hope so too. I decided to do the math, and Naomi should be back May or June of 2026. Yeah, could be. Could very well be. Or if not, you know what? I'll make her come. Honestly, at this point, if you really want to wow people, I think Romeo said this on the Rated Raw review. I think it was Romeo who said this, and I kind of agree. You could have her come back at the 2027 Royal Rumble and have her win the Rumble. That's what I would do. And I agree with that. So we'll see. But at the same time, the big question is what you're going to do with Stephanie McCurr. Because Stephanie McCurr is indeed next in line for the title, right? She was supposed to wrestle Naomi at Clash of Paris, and now it just looks like it's not going to happen, obviously because Naomi's pregnant. The title's vacated now, right? The title's now vacant. So vacant is once again champion. So what do we do? Like I said earlier, you could probably do a battle royal next week in Birmingham, England. And the winner faces Stephanie McCurr at Clash of Paris for the vacant title. Because I don't want to see Stephanie McCurr compete in a tournament or in a battle royal. Nah, she's earned the right to challenge for that title. So give her an opponent and let's crown a new champion. That's what you should do. But we'll see. We'll see how they go about this. From there, we got the Extreme Rules match, right? The main event. Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker for the 6th or 7th time already that these guys main evented a Monday Night Raw. But because they're in Philly, it's an Extreme Rules match. There's a spot in the beginning of the match where Braun Breaker, he takes a bump because Jay bought this like a shopping cart with weapons, right? Literally at a ringside. And mind you, Jey Uso came out dressed as New Jack. So there's a spot at the beginning of the match where Braun goes over to the top rope, and when he falls, like his body hits the shopping cart full with weapons and shit. And you can tell he was selling, like he was really hurt. They brought tables out and all that stuff. And what do you know? And out of this, it looked like Jay had the match won, but then Bronson Reed got involved, which led to CM Punk, the LA Knight, to come out, which led to Rollins to come out, which led to CM Punk to come out. And there's a moment in the match. There's a moment in this, right, where there's a table on the outside, and I guess LA Knight was on the apron, taunting, whatever, and Rollins pushed Punk onto LA Knight, which then falls through the table. And as all this is happening, Braun Breaker ready to spear somebody. I think it was Jay. And then Roman Reigns music finally. Keep in mind, they were advertising Roman Reigns for weeks for this show from last night. Shows up at the end. Of course, he's the OTC one. He can do whatever he wants. He's earned that right. And obviously, he spears or he attacks Braun Breaker, and he throws him into the ring, and they put him on the table, and Jay does the Uso splash for the 1, 2, 3. They celebrate, and then you hear Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed going back and forth. I guess Roman said, "I'll see you in Paris," implying that it's going to be Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed at Clash of Paris, which should be fine. Should be a fun match to watch. Damn, what a up in competition for Bronson Reed, right? Like, holy shit, man. You're wrestling Roman Reigns, potentially, in Paris. That's what's up. And that's how they closed the show. Overall, look, I thought Raw was a slight bit of an improvement from the last couple of weeks. It's good to know that we finally get a main event on Raw that doesn't end in a disqualification or a no contest or count out, right? There was a winner. It was good to see no one in lucha mask being vandals or degenerates, hopping over the barricade to attack the wrestlers. Good to see that Philadelphia security provided law and order. Good to see that. And obviously, of course, congrats to Naomi and Jimmy Uso once again. And obviously, yeah, the bloodline story is going to continue for a long time. I legit was worried about Braun when he took that bump off on the shopping cart. Me too, brother. I was worried too. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Give me your thoughts on Raw. What did you like? If it's not in the live chat, if not on demand, on the playback of this, we'll be back live tomorrow for another live edition of Sad Something About Dynamite. Being that AEW will be live in Europe because obviously it is, as you guys already know by now, this weekend is a pay-per-view. This weekend is AEW Forbidden Door. And as you guys already know.
Oh, wow, that's a fitting name for all the virgins out there, the Forbidden Door, because that's the one thing they'll never see.
Well, we'll be previewing Forbidden Door tomorrow right after Sad. All right. So now you know, guys, if you've not checked out the other content on the channel this week, obviously Raw Run, my bad, Steve's Kitchen, where I gave my thoughts on everything from Triple Mania, my thoughts on TNA going head-to-head with AEW on Wednesday nights in their TV deal that's coming up, and my thoughts on Hamza Chimaev dominating Drake and Duplessis at UFC 319 to become the new UFC middleweight champion. Follow the Around the Point Network over on X at AT Point Network. Follow me on X at Heel Steven, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on a live edition of Sad Something About Dynamite. And if you're a channel member, you get to join us, watch Dynamite with us. And I'm going to work on some things so maybe you guys can hear the audio of Dynamite. I'm going to work on it, okay? I'm going to work on it, okay? So, Chief, whenever you get a chance, maybe later today, whatever, just hit me up. I'm going to hit you up so we can work through the audio thing. But, yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. Naomi is pregnant. What's next for the women's world title? We'll see. For myself, for the gang, this has been another live edition of the Raw Rundown here on the Around the Point Network. Peace out, y'all.